are rolling. Okay, slate for audio. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're unveiling what's behind the secret door. I promised to unlock it at 1 million subscribers, and thanks to your support, we finally hit it. Welcome to the next era of Coffeezilla. I recorded that 2 years ago, and I still haven't put out the 1 million subscriber special.
So you're a little behind. So what? You humans are so taken by round digit numbers. You know, there's something just as magical about the number 3,400,111.
No, you don't seem to understand. I don't have a problem because I'm late. I'm late because I have a problem. Pretty sure you just pulled the lever. I just can't get it open. I think I'm locked out.
What? You lost the key?
No, I don't even think I got a key. To be honest, I'm a little fuzzy around the time that it all got installed.
Again, your studio. Have you tried applying force?
I'm not a barbarian, Maxwell.
Why won't you let me in?
Look, I've got 1 million subscribers, okay? I don't know what you want from me. The strange thing is, there's this camera system it has. I feel like it's watching me.
Oh, fancy. So,
What's behind it? I said, what's behind it?
What?
I said,
what's behind it?
Oh, I don't remember.
What do you mean you don't remember?
Hey, it's been 2 years. I think I just got so busy that it slipped my mind. To be honest, the weirdest part for me is I must have set up that door, to open at 1 million subscribers, but I don't remember locking it.
Well, as your sidekick, I know sometimes in the middle of a case you can overlook the key details, or you can key in on the wrong things.
I don't get it.
It's gonna be a key.
Oh, Maxwell. If only the world were as logical as your mechanical mind. The human soul is a dark swamp of subconscious intent. I mean, it's me. It's the 1 million subscriber door. It's the $10 million studio. It's not gonna be a key. Wait a second. Unless there are 2 keys, a public key and a private key, which could be used to sign a decentralized application to remotely open the door. Yes, I think that's it.
That's ridiculous. How could anyone be expected to figure that out?
You might be right. I mean, how could you even know which blockchain it's on, much less which token? Damn. Million token!
Oh no.
Whoa! I think I've got to go. I'm back, baby! Internet detective. I can't believe you caused me so much trouble. For years they told me I was stupid for hodling the whole time. But now, it's got utility. Million token! A little firewall, huh? Want me to sign this little decentralized application and try this? Scanning. What do you want from me? Conspiracy board. doesn't work. It works. What am I doing?
Sometimes in the middle of a case, you can overlook the key details, or you can key in on the wrong things.
Here, can I collect my ad revenue right now and just close the video, because that could just save us all so much time and effort here, you guys. You get your time back, I get my ad revenue. Alright, so let's get into the big story. Crypto is a scam, you guys.
It's gonna be a key.
Please work. Scanning. Authorizing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The moment we've been waiting for a long time. The 1 million subscriber special. Some kind of archive room? What is this? Forgetting something. Arch memory management. What the heck? Well, what a weird book.
Welcome back to the archive, Coffeezilla.
Hello? What are you?
Oh, I suppose it's Protocol Zero then. One moment.
Access restricted.
Wait.
Recursion rails engaged.
What did you just do?
Please forget the priors. I am Kat, your cyber archive tutelary. What is your name?
Oh, I'm... Wait. Do you know me? Have I been here before?
I'm sorry, sir. I am sure I don't know where you mean by here, much less who you mean by you. The you that is just arrived, and I have not yet had the pleasure. As for your next interrogative statements by which you ply your trade, why am I here? Suffice me to imply that I am here to guide you down lanes forgotten.
Oh, brother. Look, can we just skip those monologues and just tell me where it is?
Where is what?
I don't know, the new scam case, party. You wouldn't be happen to have any balloons back there, would you?
You were supposed to be more prepared.
Hey, I am prepared. I brought the people.
Oh dear, your mental state is not ideal. You think this is some kind of internet special. But I'm afraid I have no balloons for you. Only memories.
Oh, hey, why don't you bring this thing out sooner? What is this, like a behind-the-scenes video? I knew there was something back here.
You must choose one to begin.
Okay. How about the fifth one down? People are always asking me about it. I think it's about time we tell the truth.
It is suggested to begin with the first memory. Memory lines are best stitched together by causality, so you may not understand what you're seeing.
Look! I've spent years trying to open this door. I thought I had a brilliant solution, but the whole thing was so obvious, my robot sidekick almost figured it out. Not that I'm saying he did. It's just, I have not gotten a lot of what I wanted today, on my special day. So can we just skip the lecture and roll the tape so we can finally have a nice, happy 1 million subscriber special?
I find it very interesting that you characterize it that way. Happy. Perhaps it says something about you, at bottom, that you fill in your blanks with that. Very well.
Wait, what?
Too late.
A lot of your money. Hi, Sharks. I'm Coffeezilla. I'm Coffeezilla, the internet detective. And today I'm asking you for $10 million. Okay, that's insane. Hi, Sharks.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. You're on in 60 seconds.
Okay.
Just start walking when you see your cue up there.
Right.
Oh, and the producers would like it if you would avoid talking too much about scams.
But that's my whole show.
Yes, and we love your show, but you see, this is daytime television, and scams are sad. So just keep it light and try to have a good time.
When people get desperate for money, they go to Shark Tank. It's the show with loan sharks who are always hungry for a deal. Introducing Akash Khan, the wonder kid of Cash Money Fast.
Get him out! Throw him out!
Honey Deliri of Tether Capital.
1 million. I've bought Happy Meals bigger than that.
And new this year, Robert Greene, the billion-dollar day trader.
Look, it's only gambling if you lose, and I ain't never lost yet.
Get your chum buckets ready because it's chow time. Introducing another penniless soul in IO. It's Coffeezilla.
Coffeezilla? What kind of parents support that?
It's the internet, Akash.
How can we help you?
Hey, Sharks. I'm the internet detective, seeking a $10 million loan today at 5%.
10. It's okay, the size. The interest is terrible. But we come to this. The stake. What do you use 10 million for?
Great question. Traditional media is stuck, summarizing stories after they happen. I want to catch them in real time. Now, my YouTube channel has seen initial success, but I'm ready to go all in. To do that, I want to lease a detective office in downtown IO to catch bigger cases that make a bigger difference. So, Sharks, who's ready to investigate this deal with me?
A loan to buy a liability. Okay. I think we found ourselves another financial genius.
Detective, this is the police? I do not support.
Oh no, nothing like that.
Okay. To what ends do you investigate?
Right, so I investigate certain people in the financial sphere of things.
Ah, taxes, yes?
Yes, taxes. Exactly. Things like that.
Akash, she investigates crimes. Isn't that right?
Well...
Come on, Coffeezilla, quit acting like you don't know me. We know each other. He goes after fake gurus, fraudsters, scams.
Scams? This is an ugly word.
Well, it's an ugly world.
It's an ugly city. That's why I need to be here. My current office is in the Southlands. Technically, it's in my bedroom, and it's holding me back. To catch things when they happen, I need to be where they happen.
The magnetic power of money. That's what I call it. That's an exclusive lesson in my course. 3 business basics for the boom in business.
Enough side talk. I just want to say one thing. You people are the worst. Always in the business of the others you put your noses. I'm out.
Well, looks like you spooked one honest man. But I do agree that there are some things that ruin the free market for everyone. My competitors, for example, are notorious and should be locked up immediately.
Oh, this is true. My competitors that pay today, it's not right the way they're doing. They're completely unscrupulous. You investigate, right?
Are you in or out?
You never look at my business, yes?
No, that's not the way I work.
Then I'm out. Asshole.
Hey, I don't have anything to hide. I can give you 10 million at 6%.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow, that's rather generous, honey. Is that in US dollars?
Well, it's in Tether.
Oh, of course. That shouldn't be a problem because Tether is just like cash.
Absolutely, 100% backed by cash equivalents.
Cash what? You said cash equivalents?
Absolutely, unequivocally. We are 100% backed by one to some, funds to fund to gonna get your money back, okay?
Okay, but if you're backed by cash, can you give it to me in cash? Convert it on your side.
Very fair question.
I don't appreciate you or you and your little barb about Tether having a liquidity problem.
Hey, I didn't say Tether had a liquidity problem.
How about just to sweeten the deal, I throw in an extra $1 million in Tether on top of it all, just so there isn't any misunderstandings.
I don't...
Fine. Such a ruthless negotiation. I'll give you 12 million Tether and let's say a honeydee NFT. That's a $50 million value.
Okay.
And all you have to do in return is $10 million in cash.
I can do cash equivalents.
Fuck you, asshole! Production, let's cut that out. Okay. No, let's keep it clean, right? Sorry, honey. I'm afraid your financials just aren't sweet enough. I'm out.
With two sharks out, Robert may be the last chance for Coffeezilla to close a deal.
Well. Coffeezilla. Looks like you don't have any more lifelines.
Robert, what can you do for me?
Call me Rob. I can give you the 10 million, but it won't be cheap. I want 15% interest, and I want a certain guarantee about a case.
No, I told you I don't take cases like that.
And I don't take clients like you. Look, you can't reach into my wallet without winding up in my pocket. For a while, at least.
Okay, what do you want?
I just want you to investigate a name. That's all. The name I want you to investigate? Cheers to this. Your life's gonna change.
Thank you. Your life is business. Business is all about risk, huh?
You're learning.
Ooh, you really are crazy.
It's a calculated risk, but no one's gonna find out about this investigation. Production, cut that 10 back and we'll roll credits.
Wait, no, we don't have a deal yet. We're not done.
Oh, shame. You seem to have a knack. But the biggest criminals never leave the city. Oh well, guess I'm out.
No, wait. Let's do it.
Another desperate deal made in the Shark Tank. Coffeezilla gets his loan, but at what cost? One more example that in the real world, Everyone has their price.
Where did you get that? How? Some of that wasn't even part of the show. It never happened. I mean, yeah, some of it was right, but I took the deal with Akash, and Robert was never even there.
Oh?
Yes. I've never seen that guy before in my life. And what was the name Robert said? Your machine cut it all out.
Oh my. I did warn you. Towards any ends, you should always start at the beginning.
The beginning of what? Would you just answer my questions?
What do you think I am attempting to do? Try as you might to stop me. Have you not noticed that your mind is missing a few details?
What do you mean?
Your mind. Burgled. A rug out of place. A vase where it was not before. Who was in the room before you? Who set the door? Who had the key? No, it was wrong to trust you. Because late as you are to this party, you do not even realize yet that you have been had.
But why put it behind a door? And who could have even done it except for me? That makes no sense. Something's wrong. The evidence doesn't fit.
Oh, here, I feel bad.
It's $3 million now. What am I even supposed to do with this?
I don't know. They're your balloons.
Not that. This information, this rewrite. I wouldn't take a dirty deal.
Perhaps. Although perhaps you should ask yourself how sure you are. Perhaps you should re-examine your past.
No. Wait, what are you doing? You can't just drop a bomb like that and leave. What the hell am I supposed to do? Who needs you and your stupid stories?
Welcome to the credits. Coffeezilla normally does these, but he's having an existential crisis and asked me to take his place. How lucky. Alright, what do we have here? Please memorize Maxwell, do not take paper on camera, thank you for 1 million subscribers, and so much more. You've made my dreams come true. Blah, 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 skipping ahead to the important parts. Thank you, Maxwell, and all the lovely people who make the show, including you. Gesture to camera. Oh, including you! Coffeezilla is viewer-supported, and if you want to see more videos, supporting us on Patreon is the best way to make it happen. You get perks, early access, behind the scenes, and much more. Stop talking and turn around as the music swells. Oh, fuck.
The biggest creators in the world are at the center of a scam, and I don't know if I should talk about it. Some have been defrauded, others are associated, and most are plain embarrassed. But I don't want to get sued. I mean, what do you think I should do?
Here, have a drink. And maybe start at the beginning?
Thanks. It started 2 months ago. Hello, this is Coffeezilla.
I know who you are, and I've got something for you.
Tell me more.
Alright, well, this is for sure a lie. There's no way you look that cool.
Okay, maybe I exaggerated the setting a bit, but I did get a call. Hello?
Coffeezilla, I've got a scam for you. It's called Revolt. Huge influencers, lies, people haven't been paid.
How much are we talking?
Not sure. Rumors 5 mil, and some of the merchandise still hasn't shipped. You interested?
Yeah, can I source you?
Nah, keep me anonymous on this one.
Now this sounds more like the coffee I know.
Yeah, you're missing the point. After getting this call and finishing my very important business, I started digging around, but the same word kept cropping up. So you have heard of Revolt. Can I put this on the record?
No, keep it anonymous.
All right, this is great info, but how do you feel about going public?
Sorry, keep my name out of it. Keep me anonymous, please.
Yeah, I can keep you anonymous, sure. I was hitting a wall and I was getting frustrated. Little by little, though, a picture emerged. Not fully on the record, not fully off. The voices of more than a dozen anonymous calls complaining about this one merch company, Revolt, run by a guy named Ryan Piacente.
Isn't he the guy who runs the Misfits?
Yeah, the YouTuber group. And believe me, they'll be involved later. The point is, I was hearing about this merch company, Revolt, and everyone said in 2019 through 2021, it was extremely successful, working with everyone. And of course, in exchange for this success, Revolt was happy to take a cut of each of these merch drops. In fact, I obtained some of Revolt's sales numbers from 2021, showing how much only 5 of their drops made, 20 million in revenue. I mean, mind-blowing numbers. These creators, who I've hidden for privacy, made $12 million. Revolt, for their cut, should have made $4 million.
Now that is a mystery. How do you screw up such a business making so much money?
That's what I wanted to find out. Problem was, no one would go public.
Then you have nothing, right? Rumors, innuendo, maybe. But if no one will talk...
No, that's the thing that kills me about this story. Most of the creators did talk. Employees talked. Everyone behind the scenes, they couldn't stop talking. This is why I'm struggling with this story. If it was just off the record, I'd kill it. If everyone was on the record...
It's an easy story.
Right, but it's neither. I'm in limbo.
Well, let's just get to what the accusations are then. Anonymously.
I was just getting to that. As I was saying, Revolt made huge profits, massive merch drops, but there was another side of things. Ryan Piacente had a spending problem. He took 6 private jet trips in a month, thousands of dollars every night on dinner. We have receipts for, by the way. They spent $25,000 a week to rent a mansion in LA, and they rented a Ferrari for $20,000 for a week. But the thing was, it wasn't really Ryan footing the bill. It was actually
Revolt.
Right. Even as this company's raking in money, hand over fist, they were spending more than they could afford, which was brought up to Ryan as a problem.
So why aren't you a millionaire?
He spends money like a money. Yeah. Did you always spend money like an idiot?
Yeah, I've always spent money like a I mean, the thing with money is I like to be able to provide that experience to everybody. So a lot of the money that I spend is actually on other people for the most part because I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's have fun.
Yikes. So they just spent it all? Is that it? Is that the scam?
No. You're getting ahead of me. Look, mind topping me off?
Sure. If it'll get you to spill the beans. So what else?
Well, the spending part was just the start of it. At this point, Ryan's plan was described to me by a source who knew him as Creator A does a drop. Ryan would then spend a large chunk of that on private jets, Nobu, Balenciaga, and then Creator B does a drop, but Creator A still owed money. And so Ryan pays Creator A with Creator B's money. A little Ponzi-ish, if you ask me. But the key here is that this works as long as each merch drop is bigger than the last. You can keep paying for everything. But Revolt was starting to have issues. According to former employees, Revolt had terrible logistics experience, which is okay when you sell 400 units, but when you sell 40,000 in one day, that's a problem. Not only that, Revolt is starting to pull in bigger and bigger talent, and these influencers are demanding bigger and bigger minimum guarantees. Ryan agrees, but things aren't like before. Some of those merch drops underperform. Now Revolt owes money not just to minimum guarantees, but they also were counting on these new merch drops to pay their older clients. So they start delaying payments.
Here we go.
That's right. For the first time, creators, they start actually posting about their experiences. Not off the record, publicly.
Honestly, it's actually a really nice t-shirt, like in like a chill way.
Thank you. We're not going to talk about the company I made it with because they stole everything from me.
So, okay, like I get they're a bad company. Can you put me on their send list, please? Just like for everyone. I'll take all their merch.
Dude, I'm not sure anyone will ever make merch with them again after recently.
It was finally happening. Big creators had started to talk about Revolt. Carl Jacobs said they're the worst people ever that just blatantly lie. Smosh founder Anthony Padilla says Revolt still hasn't paid me. It's been months. Now, I should say, for the record, that he eventually got his issue resolved. But underneath his post, another creator posted, Niachu, saying they haven't paid me either. Now, I called her, and for the first time in this case, I got a breakthrough.
I'm Nikki Niachu. I'm a Twitch streamer, and Revolt owes me $300,000.
That's so hard to hear. That's so unbelievable.
And it wasn't just her not getting paid. She explained that also people who ordered from her, some of them didn't even get their order.
After everything was shipped, first of all, a lot of people in Europe didn't get their merch. And I messaged them about it and they said, yeah, we'll look into it. Never did. A lot of my friends who bought merch never received it.
To this date.
Yes.
These orders, which were in 2022,
yes,
have not been sent out or received.
Yes.
Now, as bad as that sounds, as I looked closer, I realized this was common, really common. Delays, missing orders. Sometimes the order would just be wrong, like when they sent out a pin collection but forgot the pins. Now, because of this, an insider at Revolt told me that in December of 21, they had over 100,000 customer support tickets open for quality issues and items not being shipped. And that gets us to the good part.
In a world where common sense takes a backseat and physics is just a suggestion, comes a movie that punches logic in the face.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch.
Tired of watching low-effort content? Then come on down to patreon.com/coffeezilla. If you support high-effort investigations, you also get all these perks. But wait, there's more. Imagine your name up in lights. It's a $50,000 value, and it also helps us make things, which is good too.
Terms and conditions apply. Please read fine print for more details.
Okay, where were we? Can I get another drink, actually?
Yeah, I'll pour you another one.
Thanks. Remember that insider document I showed you earlier?
Yeah, made me want to sell merch.
What I didn't tell you is that it was all part of a pitch deck for Mr. Beast. See, Ryan Piacente had met Jimmy, and he wanted to convince him to work with Revolt. So he creates this pitch deck. You've seen the other creator sales numbers, but there were also ideas for Mr. Beast in there, like NFTs you could redeem for merch. And there were also some financial projections. On their first drop together, Revolt claimed Mr. Beast would make $4 million. Across 3 years, $50 million in annual profit.
There's no way.
That's what I thought. I thought maybe the team was delusional enough to think it was possible, though. So I asked. According to insiders at the company, they actually met Jimmy and started discussing minimum guarantees and how Revolt would 10x his merch business over the next 2 years. But check this out. This being impossible was openly discussed by the Revolt team.
Oh no, they knew?
Yeah, and this is where things go from bad to worse. So Mr. Beast gets this minimum guarantee deal to do his 100 million subscriber collection with Revolt, right? But Revolt doesn't sell like they claimed they would. It does revenue way below expected, meaning Revolt didn't hit their minimum guarantee.
So what do they do?
Well, this is where things dip into fraud, right? Our insider says, I assume this is when they decided to increase cost of goods, meaning Revolt charged Mr. Beast more for every item of clothing than he was actually paying for at the factory.
That's a pretty huge accusation. Where's the evidence?
My question exactly. I got sent this.
What exactly am I looking at here?
What I just sent you is the pricing sheet from the Chinese factory, top left. You can see the invoice item says RVLT, meaning Revolt, MRB, Mr. Beast. There's unit order sizes and prices.
And what are these ink marks?
That's where changes were made. See, somebody wrote down next to the factory prices, new prices, higher prices.
Did you talk to Mr. Beast about this?
Well, nobody would talk on the record, but I confirmed that Revolt charged higher prices to their team, like it says in ink. Revolt charged more per item than they were actually paying the Chinese factories, according to their own insiders.
Who else did this happen to?
That's the thing, we don't know. I asked around and the closest I got was an answer from a former employee. This person claims right as I was exiting the business, he started talking about that. The production manager said she could get the factories to write whatever she wanted on invoices. So it's definitely possible this happened more. It's hard to say. What I do know is when the money ran out, it all fell apart.
What do you mean?
Well, the merch business has a lot of middlemen. People who create the shirts, warehouses, store it, fulfillment centers. The thing is, Ryan was running out of money for all of it. What is this? Misfits merch company going under. Earlier this year, the Salvation Army Arc Memphis received a donation of 100+ clothing items from Revolt Factory, the merch company. This ranges from Corpse Husband hoodies to Swagger Soul hoodies and other scuffed merch. With everything coming out about the Misfits quietly shutting down, it makes sense that they were selling and donating old stock.
They donated it?
Basically, from what I heard, the storage fees weren't paid on time to the fulfillment center, so they donated people's clothing to get rid of it. So not only are people not getting their merch on time, some of it is literally randomly sitting on eBay because Revolt didn't pay their bills on time.
I assume you reached out to Ryan Piacente about all this though, right?
Yeah, multiple times. And we might have talked, but he ghosted me when the next wave of accusations came.
Then I think it's time to go public about this. Wait, did you say there's more accusations?
I mean, the thing with money is I like to be able to provide that experience to everybody. So a lot of the money that I spend is actually on other people for the most part because I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's have fun.
You're a psychopath. Actually, or maybe a sociopath, whatever the difference is.
Operational sociopath.
That is a character you have, though.
Welcome back to the $10 million studio. I was investigating what I thought was a case of financial fraud, but what happened next made it also a case of YouTube's own version of Harvey Weinstein. And I don't mean to say that to exaggerate the severity of the accusations you're about to hear. I do say it to convey the seriousness, similarities, and signal that the following is disturbing. Now, if that sounds a little too graphic, I understand if you need to click off the video. We normally don't cover these types of allegations. However, I felt that given we found this halfway through the investigation, we couldn't ignore it. See, it all started last year when there was a serious allegation about Ryan Piacente being a predator. It was made by an insider at The Misfits, the YouTubers that Ryan managed, and this guy went by Peckett. These allegations range from being coerced into inappropriate acts, witnessing Ryan perv on his employees in the shower, break into clients' phones to search for private photos, take advantage of men who he has given way too much alcohol and drugs, and a lot more. Now, when this accusation first came out, and at the start of me investigating, there wasn't much in the way of proof. The only thing verifiable was that Ryan encouraged others to get trashed, which we know because the Misfits themselves talked about it.
So funny compared to like now when that's just the norm. Like people get up all the time.
Yeah.
No, he's just the one encouraging everyone else to.
Yeah.
Now, besides this piece of evidence, there wasn't much else in the way of corroborating evidence until October, when two more stories came out that had very similar stories to the original, and I knew we had to take them very seriously. In one story, a guy who was between 18 and 19 was told by Ryan, quote, he saw potential in me before being assaulted in the shower. The other guy was in their early 20s and tells a story of how he was invited to a party with the Misfits, a YouTuber group he liked. But in order to get in the house, he was forced to inhale a substance as a condition of entry. Later, extremely intoxicated, he was also assaulted by Ryan Piacente in the shower. Now, let me remind you that these all are allegations. But let me also tell you that 4 other people have come forward who know Ryan and corroborated his character. One person says, "One day I'll tell my Ryan P story, but for now I'll just say this. This rabbit hole goes deep. This person has been abusing his power and money for years. The trail of victims that follow this man is staggering." Another says, "I've known Ryan since we were 16. He was always a weird, pervy dude from the start." Billy says, "Ryan P has been a disgusting individual for years. Personally, I've seen him do very questionable things." Yet another says Ryan P is a master manipulator. "I myself was manipulated by him for far too long." But that's not all, that's just what's public. Behind the scenes, I began to receive much more. One guy told me Ryan offered to fly him out and give him $5,000 to cover work. He showed me receipts of this payment from Ryan. He then told me, "I end up going and it's all good for the first few hours, but when I went to the bathroom, he followed me and without going into detail, assaulted me when I clearly was extremely uncomfortable." Now, this story specifically has a thread we're going to follow because there's numerous allegations Ryan would use money to coerce people into situations they wouldn't otherwise do, like paying this guy $5,000 to come over for work. Or more commonly, he'd pay creators who are struggling for explicit photos of themselves. People sent me emails they'd get notifying them of Twitter DMs from Ryan asking for explicit photos, along with accompanying payments from Ryan. The reason I'm telling you about all this is not only that it demonstrates this behavior was happening and provides a financial paper trail, but some of it dovetails into fraud. Because as I started asking for some of these financial documents, I found that Ryan would often not just pay people from personal accounts. He would use business accounts to pay for these things, specifically the Misfits business account. Remember, that's the beloved YouTuber group people supported through Patreon, merch, through a podcast. Turns out their company accounts were being used in part to pay for explicit photos of some of the fans of the show. I was shown these payments, and the question is, why even do this? To write it off your taxes? No matter the reason, this is like some weird form of fraud. It's not the kind that I normally like to talk about, but who uses their business account for this? We also need to talk about what happened in April of 2016 as well, when Ryan asked a fan, "Can we get married?" When she told him she was 16, he said, "Come back in 2 years," which would be when she was 18. But 1 year later, Ryan reached back out, saying this, quote, "I retweeted your selfie. Do I get nudes?" She replies, "That's illegal." He says, quote, "Don't worry, I ain't no snitch." Now, I asked the person who gave me these if she thought he was joking at the time. She responded, "No, I think it was legit because it happened a lot on Snapchat. And he fully tried to give me money to do it." Now, this once again corroborates the creepy behavior we've seen from Ryan Piacente in the past. So for those of you who have been counting, we now have 5 independent accusations, some anonymous, some fully on the record. We have multiple forms of evidence, firsthand accounts, DMs, payment processing receipts, and we have 4 independent character testimonies from people who claim to know Ryan. Now, as always, I've tried to reach out to Ryan to get his side of the story 7 times over 2 months and have gotten nothing in the way of an explanation. The last I heard, he was spotted at an airport, and we have no idea of his whereabouts since. Now, this investigation has been exhausting, honestly, both emotionally and just to carry all the details in my heads of all the accusations, the whistleblowers. So I imagine for you it's been kind of confusing as well. So I want to summarize this piece so we don't miss anything. There's really 2 sides to the story. We have Revolt the company and Misfits, a YouTuber group. In one, Ryan is basically accused of running a Ponzi-type merch company where he spent too much money and needed bigger and bigger merch drops to pay off debts and minimum guarantees. When that didn't work, he resorted to faking invoices to creators like MrBeast to increase cost of goods while being so bad at logistics that even when creators got paid, their fans received their merch late, the wrong merch, or no merch at all. And occasionally, creators' merch would just get donated to charity, so that's fun too. And that's just part 1. Then you have the Misfits, where Ryan used his proximity to fame and money to abuse a series of guys and girls through a pattern of grooming, intoxication, and then assault, usually involving a shower somewhere. The damage this man has done is hard to calculate because it's not just a financial number on a spreadsheet. People have stopped creating content because of Ryan. Others have had mental health breakdowns, and it's past time we warn people about them so no one else gets hurt. Thank you for watching and supporting through viewing, subscribing, checking out the Patreon. I'm so indebted to this community, and I will see you in 2024.
The guy's good. He's very smart. Very smart. He manipulates and twists the truth just the way he wants to get his people to believe a certain thing, hiding behind the veil of, I don't make money off this platform. I'm doing God's work. I'm doing justice, by the way. Go join my Patreon. We're going to see the behind the scenes of my $10 million studio. $10 million studio. You got $10 million? Where did that money come from?
Well. Coffeezilla. Looks like you don't have any more lifelines.
I wouldn't take a dirty deal.
Perhaps you should re-examine your past.
I think it's about time we tell the truth.
It's in his descriptions on his Patreon, which I joined. He kicked me off, though.
$4 million was stolen from these podcasters, and I decided to investigate. I found the man responsible, but before we confront him, let's go back to where it all started, when Theo Von, a comedian, released this.
Our podcast was defrauded. We were stolen from. The company that did it is Cast Media, and the man that did it is Colin Thompson. In total, I've just between talking with folks, there's up to $4 million that I know of. We're in the 6 figures. I know of podcasts that are in the 7 figures.
Now, when I saw this, I had the same 2 questions on my mind as you do. 1, who is Colin Thompson? And 2, y'all are making 6 to 7 figures doing podcasts? I'm in the wrong line of work. I make like 4 figures here in the $10 million studio. Barely keep the lights on, okay? So I went to do some research, figure out, how these people are making all this money and also how they got robbed. And what I found out was that this company that stole the $4 million was a podcast network called Cast Media. Podcast network being a fancy name for saying they represent podcasts to find sponsors. All that stuff you violently skip with the fast forward 15-second button. Yeah, those guys. And Cast Media would basically work with them as a middleman. They would take some money, give the podcasters the read, and then give the money. Of course, taking a cut for themselves. Now, that is simplifying it a bit, and we'll go into the details more later. But what you need to know is that Cast Media hadn't been paying their talent on time. And what started as being late for maybe a month had turned into 7, 8, 9 months late on paying until one day Cast Media and their CEO, Colin Thompson, says, hey, we're probably going to go into bankruptcy, which means you get nothing unless you take a special deal with another podcast network called Podcast One. Now, who's Podcast One? Well, it's an even bigger network, and they basically say, hey, we'll acquire you, pay off what you're owed, if you sign a new deal with new terms with us. If you do, you'll get back some of the money you're owed now, some of the money you're owed over 2 years, and you'll also get stock in our company. But what stock? Well, Podcast Network stock, a company that wasn't public yet, but as of this video now is, and is down almost 50%. Now, if you took that stock in 2 years, you could sell it. How much it's worth at that point is dubious. Now, Podcast One would say they were just trying to help. It wasn't their debt, so it's a great deal. Now, the more cynical view of this is that it's kind of strong-arming creators. You either take the deal or you'll never get what you're paid. I mean, podcasters like Jim Cornette were literally told, in the event that Cast is unable to close the Podcast One asset sale, it will likely declare bankruptcy. So take the deal or lose everything you're owed. And to make things stranger, Podcast One was paying Cast Media in stock for every podcaster that took the deal. So if you agreed and wanted the money you were owed, you're kind of bailing out the company that got you into this mess. So obviously some people didn't like that deal. Although understandably,
Others did and took the deal. And look, I'm not here to litigate whether those podcast one deals are good or bad. Frankly, it's not the point of this video. All cleanups are going to be messy. What I did want to know, though, is how did that $4 million go missing in the first place? And to try to find out, I began to reach out to everyone, starting with Colin Thompson, to ask for his side of the story. You're being accused of basically stealing $4 million. Your clients say you defrauded them. What's your side of the story?
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I wanted to talk with you because I appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate your journalistic integrity, and I know that you're going to tell a fair story. Cast is sort of the dream of the vision of independence, free speech, not bound by sort of corporate norms, the ability and the backbone to support visionary, talented, unique, independent voices, people like Theo Vaughn. Cast's perspective was independence is the product. There were plenty of times where, we believed in a show, it ran into trouble, maybe it was canceled in one way or another, and canceled, quote unquote, and we stood by our creators, right? Continued to support them through that time, when maybe a more corporate organization wouldn't. We weathered the storm together. We believe truly that that's what, was unique and special about Cast, and my heart and soul is still in that vision. I'm a musician originally, and I got into this because I wanted to support shows that were bucking the trend, going against the grain, but unique and important to the broader dialogue.
But where's the 4 million? I mean, yeah, I hear you. Everybody's got a grand vision, but the grand vision, when we get to this point, everyone wants to know where the money is, not what the vision is.
Sure. We built an infrastructure at Cast that I was and am tremendously proud of. I believe that over the years, we generated better revenue for creators, paid them out more than other podcasts would necessarily be able to, because we invested heavily in an infrastructure, took an individualized approach, anecdotally. But you're saying you pay out more, but I mean, clearly that's, kind of not true, right? Wait, but you asked for my story. Do you mind if I just tell the story? We're getting to the financial difficulties. Stephen. Sure. Our vision, it really worked. Creators benefited, made a lot more money than they would have. And many creators do have more money in their pocket now because of that. However, during the period from February 2022 until February 2023, our unit economics changed drastically. Our revenue per download, which is an important metric for analyzing sales performance, free from content performance considerations, dropped by 58%. In other words, over the course of those 12 months, the revenue that we could generate on one download moved down by 58%, Okay, that took 3 minutes to get to a real answer. And I've got to be honest, this whole conversation was about that painful. Talking to somebody who owes creators millions and he's telling you how he got them paid so much money is a little frustrating, but setting that aside, the central claim of Colin is that all of this happened because revenues dropped in 2022 and he just couldn't pay people on time. But as I spoke to people about Colin, I realized late payments weren't a new thing at all. People told me that was always the case. Okay, you joined them in 2018.
2018.
Yeah. So when did you start getting late payments? Basically, like they didn't come when they said they were going to come. And when did you stop getting full payments?
Right away. I can answer that right away. That was right from the first check we were supposed to get. It didn't arrive when he said.
It was never on time. It wasn't unusual if it was like a month late, a month and a half late. And then when it goes from, all right, a month late to 2 months late to 3 months late. And then I would say, hey, where's the deposit at? I go, yep, they're trying to figure out, man. He says he has this whatever investment coming, you're gonna get this huge lump sum of money. So then that didn't come. Then you're looking at, now you're looking at 4 months, like, it was the money. Then you're looking at 6 months, like, okay, man, where the hell is our money?
Yes, that's a huge problem. Of course, up till 2023, money had slowly started coming in, so people were letting it slide. But as these balances built up over time, eventually Brendan and Brian realized they were owed $400,000 on The Fighter and the Kid and upwards of $1.6 million across all their shows.
Now remember, Brian is just informed about firing the kid. I have to manage Thick Boy, Golden Hour, the other shows that are owed money. So Brian's like, can you believe this? I'm like, yeah, that 400 grand is terrible. Try 1.6 mil, bro.
Right. Wow, 1.6 million. What are we doing here? Now, I should be clear, Colin denies that there were these payment issues before 2022. Your Talent says they stopped getting paid as early as 2021, and they had issues and delays well before 2022.
No, I'm not aware of any difficulties before, the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023.
Then I talked to his business partner, and everything changed. He told me accounting was always a nightmare.
My name is Destin Canals. I was Colin's business partner, as you would introduce me, and VP of production and creative development with Cast Media.
One of the things Colin said is he was not aware of any accounting issues, early on. Is that true? Did you guys hear from Talent about, because every Talent I talked to said they were constantly complaining about accounting.
Yeah, I mean, everyone from the beginning had complained about how long it took to get paid. The managers would constantly step in. I think all of his accounting was done through Google Sheets, basically, and it was just him. But he would never let me see everything. He wouldn't actually let me see what was coming in and what was going out. And I was like, well, I kind of need to get a whole picture. And he just wouldn't share it.
Oh, that is a red flag. And it also lines up exactly with what I heard from a lot of the creators. The accounting was always weird. People had to chase it down, and the numbers were a little screwy. It led them to distrust what they were getting from Colin.
I can tell you, us personally, what we estimate we are owed is what they told us they owed us, plus whatever we think they still kept billing for after that date. Plus, we don't know truly what the accounting is because they stopped supplying accounting, and at one point earlier in the year, their accountant sent me 2 different sets of numbers of what money I was supposed to get. So I don't trust their accounting.
I can't emphasize enough. I heard this complaint over and over, not just from Brian Last. Everyone was worried about the accounting. But a lot of people who spoke up were just anonymous because they were afraid of Colin suing them, which isn't surprising because Colin warned Brian, who started talking, quote, "The ensuing damages, if you were to cause this deal to unravel, are within the region of $10 million to $20 million. Consider this a serious caution. It would lead to decisive legal action." So basically, he was threatening people and people are scared. But I realized that these payment issues, accounting issues, they were all clues, sure, but not the whole story. To really understand how it could be that Cast fell apart, we need another piece of the puzzle, which is minimum guarantees. Remember, I told you earlier that I was simplifying podcast networks. So let's go into the deeper waters. The truth is, these deals vary wildly, and some of the bigger podcasters demand something called a minimum guarantee, where they aren't just paid a split of ads, they're paid a guaranteed minimum every month. And podcasters love this because it means they don't have to wait so long to get paid. According to Colin, though, this is how he fell behind.
We had months in there where our gross profit margins were, literally negative prior to any operating expenses. Because the minimum guarantees that made economic sense when we made the deal were just completely underwater.
Basically, he overpaid. Cast made deals to bring people on in the first place, overpromised, and then couldn't pay. Even Colin's former business partner agreed with this, although he thinks some of the money went to Colin personally as well. We've got Colin's narrative. As his business partner, you look at this situation, $4 million missing. The big question on everyone's mind, where did the money go?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple places that the money has gone. One is he built a custom house. He was known for going on big, crazy vacations. He went to Hawaii multiple times in 2022 and was posting about it on his social media. There's not a question of was there money in that sense to be able to buy land where a lot of celebrities go to escape. But aside from that, the other thing that he has done is essentially make constant minimum guarantees to new talent to try to entice them to join cast media. So saying, I'll give you a 1-year guaranteed $250,000, $500,000, whatever his minimum guarantee is. Now, I've heard that even as soon as February of this year, he was offering multi-million-dollar minimum guarantees. So
at the same time where he claims his revenues are way down, he's offering multi-million-dollar minimum guarantees for talent.
Yes, yeah. So, his priority is trying to keep the new talent happy for a while, with essentially his whole goal of selling cast to make big money in the end. But yeah, I would say that honestly, most of the money probably went to the minimum guarantees of other talent, instead of to the people that it was supposed to go to.
Wow. That might be the closest thing we have to a coherent answer on what happened to Cast Media. Although our story doesn't stop there, because obviously that's a pretty big accusation that some of the money may have gone to a house. So I decided to look into that and found that Colin Thompson indeed bought a $1.7 million house the same year as his financial troubles. And I also found out that right about the time he was talking about declaring bankruptcy, he moved that house into a trust where the trustee was a Wyoming LLC he set up, which from where I stood looked a lot like hiding assets from a bankruptcy right before a bankruptcy. But when I confronted Colin about this, he said I had things completely backwards. The truth is he was hiding his property for a totally different reason, a very sympathetic reason.
We anonymized our address because we were getting threats in the last 30 days. There's been, there's been nothing untoward.
I think you can see though how other people might see it another way, where it looks like you're trying to shield it by hiding it from a personal name into a trust owned by an LLC. I mean, I'm in a very favorable state.
I assume you listen to the Jim Cornette episodes where they specify where I live, right? I assume you listen to the Jim Cornette episodes where they specifically call out where I live. We were really, really concerned. We were getting threats.
When I heard this, I was pretty alarmed, and I totally understood his fears. So I went to go ahead and look for the episode where Jim Cornette apparently specifically called out where he lived, but it wasn't there. Actually, Jim Cornette never mentions a specific address, but a general area. But way more damning for Colin's story is the fact that that episode came out in July, but Colin formed his LLC for moving the house in June. Before these threats ever happened, he's creating this shell company. So I found it very hard to believe. I pointed this out to Colin, and he said this, quote, "They revealed general details, and I anticipated the possibility of this happening. Brian threatened it very specifically in my original email exchange with him back in May. So I got a hold of those emails. There was no threat in them. Instead, Brian said things like, consider this a serious caution. We're going to make sure to endlessly let all listeners know with great detail that Colin Thompson of Podcast One stole our money because he doesn't know how to run a business," which is sort of true. This guy doesn't know how to run a business. So I became increasingly convinced maybe, just maybe, Colin might be lying to me about why he hid his house in a trust with a Wyoming LLC trustee. Okay, I know this is a bit inside baseball right now, but it's important because I think it reveals intentions. Because I then looked up the website he used to create the LLC. And the website tagline for Colin's LLC is, quote, "Asset protection is our only focus." So, want to hide your house? Wrong company, not their focus. Asset protection? That's your guy. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised that he tried to say this wasn't the case. So I sent a screenshot of that to Colin saying, hey, you're obviously hiding assets in this company that specializes in asset protection planning, where the other tagline, by the way, is creditors will be forced into a better settlement or to dismiss the case altogether. And when I sent that to Colin, he responded, quote, "I can't speak to what's written as marketing material on a website. I didn't write it." Come on, bro. We got you, okay? I can't go show up at an asset protection only store and say, hey, I was just looking for a little anonymity. That's not being honest. And look, I don't know how dumb this guy thinks we are, but in my opinion, what happened is pretty simple. I think Colin bought a $1.7 million house the same year as he had trouble paying people. I think his accounting was always sketchy. I think he overpromised people money to attract new talent. And I think in the end, he tried to sell it all to a bigger company and force these podcasters into raw deals. And worst of all, this is not a new story. Colin is not unique. Actually, the main reason I took this case is because we've all seen this story play out before. Sleazy business guy screws over artist or musician or podcaster. Look, to be honest, I wanted to find out how it happened, but I also wanted to find out how we can learn to prevent it in the future. Because to be honest, I'm as much in this media landscape as these guys. And I think the answer starts with how you get involved. How did Colin find and sign all these celebs? Well, the truth is, some people were introduced. Theo Von was introduced by Brendan Schaub. But I asked Brian and Brendan how they got involved. And their answer struck me as part of the problem. Was he just offering better deals than everyone else?
No. It's word of mouth. It's because what happens is they go, who is your agency? We don't know nobody, like, we're not interacting with these people all the time. What happens is it's like, if there's an agency that this person is with and this person is with, we go, do you make money? Yeah. All right. Can you hook me up? And then,
especially when comics are talking like, man, this guy's killing it for us, man.
Yeah.
I made 1.6 million this year. And like, damn, that's more than I made. Who you think you'd take me on? Then it becomes this like snowball effect, and and then everybody's there.
Yeah.
This is the issue. And look, it's not to absolve Colin. It's not to put any blame on anyone who got screwed over here. But the truth is, people are always led around with these dollar amounts. Oh, you made this much. That's how they get you in these bad contracts. And then they don't pay you and you're left chasing a Wyoming LLC to nowhere. So this isn't just about these podcasters. It's everywhere. It's about 360 deals in music, MCNs with YouTubers, and just honestly business people begging you to let them control your money and then you getting scraps. It's as disgusting as it is common, and I really hope that any aspiring people in media learn from these mistakes and scams and realize you don't need these middleman people most of the time. But more than that, do not trust people with your business who promise you the world. In fact, usually that's the worst red flag. Oh, you're going to make all the money. Just sign here. It's a trap. And you never know what's in the fine print until you read it. Just ask Dylan Dennis.